As I've looked back over a 25-year career, the very best part of those experiences are the people. I can't tell you about projects I was a part of 15 years ago. I don't remember them. But I can consistently list off the people that had an impact on my life, my career, from all the places I've been. I don't think you can be a leader today and not care about your people. It just doesn't work.
That was Nate Randle, CEO at Gabb Wireless. I'm David Morris. I'm here with Julie Morris, and this is the second episode of How to Thought Leadership. Julie, tell me a little bit about Nate and how you came to be in touch with him.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am on LinkedIn a lot. I'm not going to say all day, but for various clients and projects and whatnot, I am on LinkedIn. So when you find people on LinkedIn who are doing it, and when I say it, I mean thought leadership and visibility and being a leader who is being also very present with an audience, what I find is that some people are going to do it really well and be really natural at that and actually invite discussion and discourse, and others are not. And so when I find the people that are doing it well, they're comfortable, they have a right mix of vulnerable and authoritative, and they really do seek to make the world a better place, I am watching that person because I want to learn from how they do it, because this is not a well-defined. There's no playbook for LinkedIn. There's no playbook for authenticity and leadership, and how much of myself do I put out there, and how much of my life and time as CEO or someone in C-suite am I going to go and sit on a social media platform? So we're all figuring it out as we go. But Nate is one that does this very, very easily, or at least he makes it look that way. And so I wanted to sit down with him and figure out what are the secrets of him and his approach to thought leadership in general, and especially as it pertains to LinkedIn and social media.
Well, before we jump into it, let's talk a little bit about Gabb Wireless. Gabb Wireless is not just another cell phone provider.
Absolutely. They're a mission-driven company with a strong mission. They're driving change in this market. So most of us know that our kids, from the time they get out of the womb, they seem to want these devices, right? Mobile phones. But we also know the dangers that really can be associated with technology and putting that technology and all of the access out there into a child's hands. It is scary. And again, no playbook. No playbook is a parent for figuring out how to do this well. But Nate and Gabb Wireless are figuring this out kind of on our behalf. So they've built products for kids that give them the key communication tools that they need to be in touch with their parents and do some other fun stuff. But there are no extra apps like TikTok, insert the name of the app that's freaking us all out now as parents here today. And so they're doing amazing marketing, they're doing incredible outreach, and they're making a real difference in the community. So good corporate citizen.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, let's get on to the conversation and let's learn more about Nate Randle and the thought leadership he's doing.
Let's do it. So Nate, you're using your platform to change lives. You applaud colleagues, you celebrate your team and your company, and you're sharing your story in such a way that lives are changed from what you're sharing and what you've been through. What's a favorite thing that's happened because you've built this audience?
So I grew up in a single parent home, first with my mom, and then she unfortunately passed away in a car accident when I was 9. And so then I grew up in a single parent house again with my second dad. So 11 or 12 of my 18 years as a youth growing up were in a single parent home. And I've been able to have an impact with single parents because I become an advocate for that group. And at the company I'm at, Gabb Wireless, we provide phones and watches for kids to safely stay connected to their parents. And we've been able to give thousands of free phones and watches away to single parents whose number one worry is staying connected to their kids.
Yeah.
So I've had a direct opportunity to be a voice for a specific group and then take action with our company and give them product to help give them peace of mind.
So that's your very favorite part of all of this. I mean, you have so many people following you. Whenever you post anything at all on LinkedIn, there are people who just lunge at the chance to be seen by you, recognized by you, and to get to just talk to you. And but not just you, it's you have this great huge followership that are also pretty influential and, you know, leading companies and all of this. I mean, is there any, I mean, how does that feel? Is that pretty cool, or is this just kind of are you used to this by now? Are you used to being followed and appreciated and having all this fan base, as it were?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm used to it, and I'm not really caught up in that.
Yeah.
I want to make a difference.
Yeah.
I'm at a place in life where I've been blessed and feel very fortunate to have a lot of positive experiences, a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful wife who is my very best friend and the best decision I ever made.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids that I adore. And if I have a platform where I can make a difference and give back, that's what really matters to me. Creating followers and connections are all part of building that flat platform so I can make a difference. But I don't want to be somebody that just has a account.
Yep.
Followers and connections. I'm not worried about the number. I want whatever the experience is to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what has really mattered to me is when we're talking specifically about LinkedIn. There's been multiple experiences where I've been a part of being able to do good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really uplifting part of my day, week, and month to be able to be a part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you think about doing good, I noticed you really lifting up your employees and your team. And so as the leader of a company, how do you feel like it's benefited your company and your team that you're doing this work to, you know, build the platform and to be able to have your voice go further than it would have normally? But like, what does this do for your company and your work?
I'm sure it does some things for the company. Mm-hmm. It leads to sales. There's clearly people who say, I've never heard of Gabb before, or Gabb Wireless, and I bought a watch today because I heard you talk about it. And that's nice. The reality or the reason that I want to talk about our people is because it's who makes our company.
Yeah.
And as I've looked back over a 25-year career, the very best part of those experiences are the people.
Yeah.
I can't tell you about projects I was a part of 15 years ago. I don't remember them.
Yeah.
But I can consistently list off the people that had an impact on my life, my career, from all the places I've been. I don't think you can be a leader today and not care about your people. It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's a new level of expectation that if you're going to lead, you have to do it with empathy and authenticity. Mm-hmm. And if you don't, people will either not want to join the company because of that, or will leave because they don't see that in you. I don't think it's a nice to have anymore. It's a must.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, so you mentioned that you are the CEO of this really awesome company, Gabb Wireless. I mean, it's got a unique product and a unique mission. And I think it really stands in this place where it feels like all of technology is just the driving force is to put technology in the hands of kids. And Gabb Wireless really stands firmly, like kind of in the river current to offer a better option or a different way. How do you like your job? Seems pretty cool.
I love it. We have a very specific mission.
Yeah.
So I spent most of my career at Nike and Callaway Golf in sports. And at each one of those companies, they had missions that were built around making a golfer better with product or serving athletes with better footwear and apparel. And I loved those experiences because I love sports. This opportunity at Gabb Wireless is personal because I have 4 kids and I care about their mental and physical health.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want my kids addicted to screens. I don't want them to be overwhelmed with the dangers of what's going on in the digital world.
Yep.
I don't want to be a helicopter parent. I'm realistic.
Yep.
I know that they'll be online and be in digital experiences, but I want them to know that they can trust me to talk about what's going on so that we can have open dialogue together as parents and kids.
Yep.
And not have it be a secret or hidden so that they get buried or depressed and then it's too late.
Yeah, absolutely. You have quite a story. And I think that if you're listening to this podcast and any of this idea of how to keep your kids safe is interesting for you, we're going to link a few other shows that you've done where you go into your story and your family and your experience. And it's something that every single one of us who is a parent, like it is 100% good chance that if something, if you have a child, they will eventually run into a decision that they're going to have to make, that they will either be ready for, knowing about what is on digital devices, what is out there in the digital world. And they will have to know what's there. They will have to either go through something tough, or you will have to have had some real serious conversations and put some real serious safeguards up to make sure that they are safe. And I really appreciate, I know my daughter is walking around with a watch from Gabb and loves it. She gets to do a ton with it and just appreciates the experience, and it feels like it was built just for her. So in terms of the company and the products, our family is grateful. So going back to this idea of thought leadership. So my mission really is about how to take away some of these roadblocks that we all have when it comes to building a platform and figuring out, here we are. I don't know about you, but I'm in my 40s, proud of it, and am not quite the native that I know my kids would be to having this personal brand and building this, like almost living my life in public, build it in public. We hear this, it's like you have to kind of live in this public way where you take what you've been through and you take what you're going through even today, and you're supposed to turn it into a lesson and you're supposed to put it out there for other people. And what is your, thinking about thought leadership for you, what is your filter? What makes it out there for other people to consume?
I want to be a positive voice that takes action.
Yeah.
That's really how I approach it. If I can share a positive message and then turn it into some form of action.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to single parents as a theme, I talked about single parents on LinkedIn for 4 or 5 different posts over a matter of 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were following me, you may have thought, why has he picked single parents?
Yeah.
Well, I was building this storyline of I grew up in a single parent home, and I care about single parents because I know what they go through. I know their challenges. I've been there.
Mm-hmm.
I watched what my mom and dad went through. And then at the right moment in time to say, single parents, I see you, I hear you, I know what you're dealing with. And we headed into the holidays, want to give you 2,500 free phones or watches so that you can be safely connected to your kid. And then in a matter of hours, 2,500 single moms, dads, or guardians come to our website, take those free phones. And the conversations that I got to have offline, on the phone, over video, through email and chat, of them saying, my biggest fear is that I have to work till 10 o'clock at night sometimes and I can't afford a babysitter and my 10-year-old's home alone. And you just gave me a free watch for me to be able to talk to my daughter on my break. And I can't tell you how much anxiety and stress that took away from me. So to summarize that, if I can be a positive voice and then at the right moments in time, put action to that,
Mm-hmm.
it's rewarding for those that I'm trying to be an advocate for. And it's extremely rewarding for our company and me personally.
Yeah.
Because we see our product make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So when you think about just thought leadership as a whole, do you feel like you have a pretty intentional strategy around what you're doing? Or is this kind of just, hey, I have a few minutes, I'm going to sit down and just share this thing that I have on my mind? What does it look like for you to have a plan or no plan?
It's a combination of both. I don't want to be so overscheduled and so planned that a spontaneous thought that I want to share can't come because I'm saying, well, I'm not scheduled to post until 3 o'clock tomorrow. And at the same time, I want to have a framework of a plan so I don't feel like it's too loose or it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So I talk about people. I celebrate people, whether it's our own people at Gabb, people that I have grown up with professionally, or people that I see that are doing amazing things that deserve to be acknowledged. But my first priority is celebrating people. Can I be a positive voice that uplifts others?
Yeah.
And then the second part of what I try to do is share personal stories with a purpose.
That's great.
So there are a lot of personal stories I could talk personally about what I did this weekend, but it doesn't have a purpose that leads to an action. So I've had CEOs reach out to me just the last week. Why did you share that personal story about your dad? Why did you share that tribute? And for the listeners, I shared a Father's Day post celebrating my dad and everything he's been to me in my life. Why did I do that? Because I wouldn't be where I'm at without my dad. I wouldn't be the CEO of this safe tech company for kids without my dad. And so to be able to celebrate him, the one person in my life who gave me a safe place to grow up as a kid, and now I'm a part of a safe tech company for kids, is this theme that's connected. And part of the reason why I wanted to be at Gabb is because my dad created a safe place for me to grow up, and I want kids to be safely connected to their parents. So as I talk about my dad and what he did for me and Gabb and what we're doing for families and kids, it's all connected. And whether you read one of my posts or multiple posts, my hope is that you see if I share something personal, it's with purpose. It's connected to something.
I love them. So how did you decide on those? Was there ever a point where surely like when you first were getting started with this idea of sharing, did it ever feel uncomfortable to share, I'm sure, right? This has got to not be easy.
Yeah. Extremely uncomfortable, and I'm still uncomfortable with it. But if it allows me to have an impact, it's worth a little bit of discomfort.
Yeah.
And when I go back over, I became active on LinkedIn early 2020, start of the pandemic. I'd maybe posted 4 or 5 times leading up to that. I really wasn't active. For 10 years, I didn't do anything. And then the pandemic hit, and I went from a packed office with a bunch of colleagues to my living room. And I am a people person. I am an office first person. And I felt completely disconnected.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel like I was giving my best self, and I wanted to find a way to give back, but everyone was locked in their homes.
Yeah.
And I, coming out of college, didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. So I started reaching out to college kids saying, in the middle of this pandemic, you must be worried about where your career is headed. You must have questions. So I started hosting these Pay It Forward Friday experiences. And 200 kids were showing up. Some Fridays I had 300 college students showing up.
Wow.
And I would bring a colleague with me from Nike or Callaway Golf or the Utah Jazz. And we'd host these experiences, and these college students would ask us questions. And through that experience, I realized I can really be a part of doing a lot of good through this platform. I don't have to come here and just talk about revenue and the stock price and EBITDA and balance sheets and where we're going to take the business. I can be a business leader inside of this platform and make a difference. So it's evolved over time from helping college students, which I still do, to talking about single parents and their challenges and taking action to help them, to now being a voice for moms and dads and saying, your lives are extremely stressful and you care about your kids and they're getting crushed by these smartphones, and we've got to take a stand together. And now our company is helping parents to take on some peace of mind by being connected to their kids in a safe way. So every part of the journey has hopefully had an uplifting, actionable part to it where I'm a part of making a difference.
Heck yes. So curious, with the move today as corporations, and I mean, we all are trying to figure out how to attract and retain great employees, great talent. And there's this question that I get often from women especially, and that is, it feels like my employer would not at all support this idea of me going on LinkedIn and trying to do exactly as you're describing, find an interest area that means something to them, or speak even just to, hey, I can do leadership. I can talk about these things. I can talk about even our company product, and yet it's not really encouraged. Any thoughts or advice you might give to them on how to navigate a situation like that if the corporate is just not supportive of them building a platform, but they're still going to do it anyway somehow?
Employees or employers don't own the employees. It's one of the most ludicrous positions I think a company can take, is to say, you can't be yourself on a platform that we don't own, and we don't own you.
Yeah.
So I tell our team, you're people, you have lives outside of this job. And although we need you to come here and perform and add to the overall value of our company, if you have something you want to say on any platform, say it.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's not so extremely controversial that it's counterintuitive to what we're trying to do as a brand.
Right.
So the only time I'd ever have a problem with it is if one of our employees was saying, I actually believe every kid should have a smartphone, and who cares if they get overwhelmed with tech? It is what it is today. Deal with it.
Yeah.
If one of our employees took that voice or stance, that would be disparaging to our brand, because our mission is to protect kids with safety. Outside of that, I celebrate when our people want to talk about our brand.
Yeah.
Because it gets our name out there and it puts us in a really positive light.
Indeed.
And if they have anything they want to do to celebrate what they're doing, what their peers are doing, or what's going on in the community or in the business world, please, by all means. I have no problem with it at all.
I can imagine that most of the, our kids will not be having this discussion with, about, man, my employer is just not supportive. It's like, we know that they would not choose to give themselves to a corporation in a role like that. I think that will be the end of that discussion for sure. But I do wish there was more corporate support for employees learning how to leverage this platform and leverage building their own platform and personal brand. I feel like it's just such a value add and a no-brainer to me, but it is good to hear a perspective of, another corporate leader saying, no, this is a good thing. This is a really good thing. If it just be supportive and be thoughtful. And
it's
like, how is this a thing?
If one of our people at Gabb goes on any platform and talks about their positive experience at Gabb, a positive thought about our product, or celebrates one of our customers or investors, how is that you'd have to pay for that otherwise to go get that coverage and that advertising.
Yes.
I don't ask employees to do it. Those who don't, there's no ill will. I'm not wondering why you won't, but those that do, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, have you ever been criticized? Have you ever shared something and had, unkind reaction, or something that really stood out to you as like, man, that really hurt? Or like, have I used my platform in such a way where it inadvertently hurt someone else?
I don't know if I've inadvertently hurt someone else, but I certainly have had multiple, attack is probably too strong, but I've had multiple people come at me and say, what you're sharing is too personal. It's for Facebook.
Yeah.
Why do you really care about, or why are you talking about your company so much? You're only in it for profit. We all know you're the CEO and make money off of it. I've had all of that.
Right.
It doesn't really bother me anymore. And I don't know if it's ever really bothered me, because I know that the single mom that we gave product to that sent me the note, that cancels out 1,000 people coming at me to complain. The college students that I'm still connected to, that I have conversations with all the time about where their careers are going. I had somebody, while I was hosting those Pay It Forward Friday experiences with college students.
Yeah.
You're just trying to look like a do-gooder. Stop
Yes.
being a do-gooder. Just run your company and stay out of the way. And that all gets canceled out when one of those students that I talked to that was going to take one direction with their career actually took another, because we had a really meaningful conversation. And 2 years later, they're reaching out, graduating, saying, I am so thankful we had the opportunity to talk, and that you shared insights, and that I was able to run things by you that really helped shape what I wanted to do with my career. So I have enough of those now that if you want to come at me with, this is for Facebook, or all you care about is profit, or we all know why you're doing this because you just want to sell more. Okay.
Yeah.
It just doesn't. I don't know you. Your opinion doesn't matter to me nearly as much as the experiences I'm having through connecting with people. It just doesn't faze me anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Love that. All right. So if you're thinking about it for the mission of the business, and I know it's nice when it's so super closely connected, right? What you care about, what you think about, and what you do are really tied together. I don't think we all maybe feel that way about what we care about and maybe what we do as a day job being super closely connected sometimes. Do you ever, I mean, just like that dissonance between, well, I care about the homeless and I work as a graphic designer. Do you feel like if you're going to be on a platform like this, it's important to try to combine these all the time into some kind of unique meld, or is it okay in your mind to just, hey, you care about what you care about and your work is over here and you can talk about both? Like, to me, you're a multifaceted person and you're going to have life interests, work interests, and they don't have to just all be one thing. Like, we're layered kind of people. What do you think?
I think for most, they don't closely connect like that.
Yeah.
I'm at a unique point in my career where I'm lucky that they do, but it hasn't always been that way. And for most, it doesn't. So I think it's more than okay to not always be sharing things or trying to figure out how to structure a story or a post in a way that has all this deep meaning to it.
Right.
What I recommend to people is, and most are trying to figure out, how do I get started?
Yeah.
Don't put yourself out there or put the stress on yourself to have to come up with the perfect post once a week or once every other day.
Yeah.
Be somebody that goes in and complements the success of others.
Yeah.
Be a leader. You can even be a CEO or a senior executive or a director in a company that may never proactively post your own content.
Yeah.
But you can do good by being on the platform and finding people that are doing amazing things, whether it be personally or professionally, and celebrate them. Be a voice of somebody who's complimenting, who's acknowledging companies that are doing good, who, whether personally or professionally, are making a difference, and be known for that.
Love that.
You don't have to always be focused on the perfect post.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
The other thing I've realized too is posts that I've actually put a lot of thought into, bomb. Posts that I think will be, wow, I really put a lot of thought into this. This means a lot to me. It'll have to mean a lot. And it doesn't do well in the context of a platform.
Right.
And then there's posts where I'll have this experience with one of our people. I take an employee to lunch who's about ready to become a dad. And I have such a meaningful lunch with hearing him talk about how excited he is. And in a matter of minutes, walking into the office, I text what I would post about, and I post it, and it gets all the engagement and interaction in the world and starts this conversation about how becoming a parent for the first time matters more than any part of your corporate career. So you can't really plan what most would consider success on a platform. So I think
Yeah.
just being yourself
Yeah.
is really important.
Love that. Okay. So I think just the last couple of questions for you. And when I think about the person who's listening to this, you feel like that you're putting yourself in a spotlight, right? I mean, if you're not engaging on social media, there's probably a reason why. Because now at this point, it is I think becoming a real expectation of leaders, right? If I'm going to hire someone to run my company, I want them to have a pretty strong network to lean on and to work with and to become customers of theirs. And I want to have them be seen, and I want PR opportunities and all these things. So if you're not already doing that, do you feel like it's becoming table stakes to start doing these things if you are going to be in leadership? Or do you feel like it's still up to you?
I think it's what you're most comfortable with.
Yeah.
So I am comfortable being a advocate for others, a celebrator of people,
Mm-hmm.
and one who's willing to tell a personal story to help put some positive news or vibe out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not, forcing it will feel forced, and I don't think that's the best use of your time.
Yeah.
So I don't think every CEO or senior executive leader or employee for that matter needs to feel like, oh, I have to do it, it's required.
Yeah.
But if it's part of who you are and you're willing to do it, I certainly see upside and advantages to participating, especially on LinkedIn.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you are afraid of the spotlight, don't run for it, and don't feel like you have to, and don't feel like that's a critical aspect of your work. Maybe someone at your organization helps you if you feel like you do need to have that happen. But does anyone at your corporation, at your company, do you get support for any of this from your team, or is this just all you and that's it?
Are you asking, do I have people help reply or like, or
Any
no,
of the-
it's on occasion, and I don't like to call her my executive assistant. I call her my co-pilot. But Quinn, my co-pilot,
Yeah.
on occasion will help me.
Mm-hmm.
If she's sitting right here with me and we're reviewing, I'm saying, can you help me just jump in and like or respond to a couple of these? But 99.9% of it, it's me.
Yeah.
Because I want it to stay authentically me.
Love that.
At the same time, it's extremely overwhelming at times.
Thank you.
It is.
Say more, because we need the bad news too, right?
Yeah, part of stepping in and establishing a voice, I shared that, and it probably shouldn't be referencing something that not everybody's seen, but I shared this Father's Day post about my dad, and it has several million views and a lot of engagement. And to some, the initial reaction to, that's amazing, you got all this engagement, that must be so cool.
Yeah.
Well, for somebody with my personality, I want to acknowledge every single person.
Yeah.
I would like to go into every comment and give a personal touch response. It's impossible.
Yeah.
I would have to do it all day, every day, and I can't do that as a husband and dad and CEO. And so that post, I had to just kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And it creates anxiety for me because I want to go in and acknowledge every person. So it has its trade-offs.
Yeah.
And there are certainly times where I feel like, oh, it's so overwhelming, I can't do it today or this week.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't set any expectations on myself. And when I can, I do. And when I can't, I don't.
Love that. So, thinking about just certainly not asking you to think about your next thing, right? Like, we imagine that Nate Randle will be CEO of Gabb Wireless for forever. But thinking about just this thing you get to take with you and this part of your journey going forward, I'm assuming that this has really grown just your personal network and enjoyment of life. And like, this continues to be just a real asset and a happy thing for you. Is that right?
It is. And I have I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I have this end thing in mind.
Yeah.
And it is with the effort or engagement or action that I'm trying to take to be a positive voice on a platform.
Mm-hmm.
My hope is that one day I'll be writing a post about this dream I have of opening up this amazing recreation center in a city that I lived in for a couple of years, Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
I live in Utah now, but I would love to go back to the inner city of Cleveland and build a amazing rec center that doesn't have any cost associated, and kids get to come experience the facility if they do good in the community and keep their grade point at a certain average. And I'm not talking about a nice little, I want to put millions of dollars into this recreation facility and change the feeling of the inner city of East Cleveland.
Yeah.
And I have that in my mind, and I think, how am I going to pull it off? How will I make it work? At one point, if I could say on LinkedIn to all my connections and followers, and for the last X amount of years, I'm stepping out of the corporate world and I'm going to go open up this amazing rec center. Who wants to help me pull it off? If all of this added up to that and I could go do that, that would be the end result of whatever this experience is that would matter to me more than anything else I've been a part of on this platform or anything else. I don't know if I'll ever pull it off. That's the last post I'd ever like to write on LinkedIn, is I pulled it off. We opened up the rec center and hundreds of kids are off the street in this rec center experiencing what we built for them. That would be the crescendo. I just got to figure out how to make it happen.
Well, I think that what you're highlighting here is it's an effort. You know, if you did it all by yourself, let's say you do have just a pile of cash that you can go burn on this exact thing. Like, you see it, it's there in front of you. But the problem with that is that it's just you. It's just been you, right? Like, it's been your almost, and I mean, all of our view of the world and the problems and the opportunities in this world, they are just a narrow sliver. But together, right? It's like you bring, 10 other partners in with you that are just as equally bought in on this idea and what needs to happen. It's not just you and your perspective on a fix, right? A quote unquote fix for the situation and poverty and systemic challenges that have been a part of that city for how many years, right? It's everyone buying into this idea that together we can really build something that will have even bigger and stronger value, and we'll each bring our own genius to the situation. And I think, like, if there's nothing else that we do in thought leadership, it's just to come together to do life better, to do our work better, to build our dreams better. And because together we get to do that. And so I think if you're listening to this and, I've always got this person in mind, and they are this genius leader in Dallas, and they're very busy. They're very busy, just like I know you are. And you're taking the time to sit down and talk with me today, and that means a ton. And they're just, they're busy. But I wonder if sometimes they're not seeing what could be by just starting to have conversations and look like, hey, you're the convener, right? Like, you're the one bringing people together. So you can pair this program with this one, and all of a sudden you're building, like, not just a network around you, but you're helping other people build networks around them. You're taking these people with great ideas and you're putting them on top of your platform that you've built, because you get to do that. And if you start to just see it, the impacts that waterfall and continue. I mean, it's overwhelming, and that's why I could just say I love this work so very much, and I hope that people have gotten a taste of why it is worth. You don't have to be a CEO. You don't have to be someone who has a following. You could start just by where you are. And if you have it like where you start, I say that you have two audiences, right? Sometimes you have a serve and a scale audience. Maybe you're trying to just build a business right now. there are people who want to support. There are people who want to know, and they will not know that you're building unless you tell them. And for this scale piece, we are mentoring, right? And this chance that we get to mentor at scale, we get to take and think of ourselves even 5 years ago. What's the problem that you had or I had 5 years ago that you can just speak to that person right now? Maybe they have less resource, less insight. You know, they're staring down at an economy that's shifting by the second. And we're coming out of COVID, and, you know, we could just use an inch of empathy to think about, what are they feeling today? It's the afternoon. They have to go home tonight after listening to people on the news all day. And, you know, what's the Fed doing? And, oh my gosh, what's cryptocurrency and Tesla and you know, there's just these messages coming from everywhere. And they get out of their car and they have to walk in and be a dad or a spouse or, you know, you name it. What could you say to them to lighten their journey, to give them some tactics, to give them a little insight that's actionable and thoughtful, and just be a friend? And you don't, like, to your point, you don't have to have some perfectly orchestrated post where, you know, the best stuff is just people talking to people. It's just social media. Nobody wants to talk to some bit of perfection, right? We just want to talk to another person who gets it and who can bring a smile. Okay, so last question for you. When you think about putting your family out there, you mentioned this amazing family of yours. Do you ever take, what kind of care do you take when you are sharing about your family and your kids, and, you know, when they're small, and what kind of safeguards do you put around you as you're out there on LinkedIn?
I'm too trusting. And with that, I've never had any issues. And at the same time, I am realizing that I'm going to have to be tighter on what I share and what I mention, especially photos. My kids are more important to me than anything.
Yeah.
And I would never want to put them at risk. I've only posted once or twice pictures of my kids, I believe. And almost every time after doing so, I've wanted to delete it or take it down. So I do think you have to be very cautious. I'm not one that likes to operate in fear.
Yeah.
But I also want to be realistic that I'd never want to put my kids in harm's way. And unfortunately, in today's world, there are issues that happen because people are too exposed on social media. So it is a bit of a caution for me and for others, and I am going to tighten it up a bit.
Yeah.
I need to be more aware.
Well, thank you. Okay, so
can I
please. Yes.
Share something about you. I'm here today because you are the perfect example of exactly what you're talking about. So if it's not clear yet, my family's everything to me, and that includes my extended family and my brother and sister. I have a little brother and a little sister. My sister started a flower business, and she was struggling to get the word out. So I put out a post that said, my baby sister just started a flower business, and I couldn't be more proud of her. If you're feeling up to it today, support her. You were the very first person who privately reached out and said, I'd love to help build a website for your sister. I've had people offer me trips to exotic places and golf tournaments and NBA final games. Your offer to help my baby sister meant more to me than any of those other offers, because it was so genuine. And I got to call my sister and say, you're never going to believe this, but there's somebody in Texas that wants to help you build a website. And hearing my sister cry on the other end because of something you offered was a really thoughtful moment for me. You're a perfect example of what you can do on LinkedIn. You're living what you're talking about. I posted, you responded, you helped me, you connected to my sister, you served her. I will now, within my LinkedIn network, and pulling you out specifically, do whatever I could do to help you because you did that for me. So if you need an example with the listeners who listen to you, you're it. I mean, you're the perfect example of what you can do through this platform if you just want to put yourself out there a little bit and make a difference. My sister now knows your name. When I tell my sister tonight, when I see her, I was on with Julie today. We caught up for a few. She's going to say, "Oh, Julie, my website. Tell her thank you again." So I don't want to be too long on that.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you.
Julie, when you reached out, I'm here because you took action and helped somebody through that platform. And I couldn't think more highly of you. And we'll always be there to help you because you extended yourself.
Well, thank you so much. I think that if there's any reason I'm going to leave this in, what I can say is just that there is no gift too small. I think that we really want to reach for perfection when we think about giving. We want a big amount or a big impact, and all we have to do is look and see what we already have in our hands. So I love that, and I appreciate that, and I am grateful for the chance to, your sister is an absolute delight, and I think that there are a whole lot of people who are an absolute delight who do need a hand right now, and if we do nothing else but try to pay forward what we have received, because I know that all of us are in the place that we are today because someone gave. So I love the challenge of us all just thinking, like, what's the one small thing I could do tomorrow? And half the time, even if it's just with our words. I got an email this morning from someone who said something really kind about something I wrote, and I had never come across her before, but the fact that she was able to give just with her words. And I would hope that everyone would take a chance by giving with their words. It does not have to be perfect. No one is looking for perfect. They're just looking for a friend. So thank you for your time today. This has been such a fun conversation. How can people find and follow you?
Oh, I'm on LinkedIn. Nate Randle, last name is Randle. Stop by. On occasion, I throw out something good, and the rest of the time, I'm just average, hanging out, trying to support people.
Beautiful.
So good to talk to you, Julie.
Likewise. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to How to Thought Leadership with Julie Morris. You can find Julie on LinkedIn and most other social media platforms. If you'd like to talk about how to increase your own influence through thought leadership, you can contact Julie through personateam.com.